um, yeah, you will basically it will try, and it will expand and then contract. So, due to the material itself, it's very elastic. So, no.
Yeah, good job, Lee. That's great. Yeah, you're right. Excellent. And then think about a rock. If you want to change the shape of a rock without breaking it, can you? And how easily can you do so?
We can't, Professor.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. So elasticity in economics shows how easily supply and demand respond to changes in price. So if the price of Coca-Cola increased, would the quantity demand change?
Yes, Professor.
Excellent. And by how much do you think it would change?
Depends on the consumers.
Yes, exactly. So the quantity demanded would change. It would decrease for everybody, but exactly it would the quantity demand would go down more for Coca-Cola fans, and it would go down for people that drink Coca-Cola every so often. So it would go down for everyone, but it depends on your preferences. So that's important. And then if the price of rice increased, would the quantity demand change, and by how much? Does Joanne want to try?
Yes, the demand of quantity will change, yes. And it depends on the consumer also.
Yes, exactly. So the quantity demand would reduce. So then if the price of tomatoes increased, would the quantity supplied change, and by how much?
Supply will be increased.
Yes. So yeah, they would supply more. That's great. Then if the price of pens increased, would the quantity supplied change, and by how much?
Quantity of supply will increase according to the price.
Yes. Yes. So it would increase because yeah, they'd make more money selling it. Great job. Great job. So elasticity of demand. So the law of demand, when price rises, quantity demanded falls. So even if you still want the same amount of the good, you can't afford to buy as much. So how much does demand fall? A lot or a little? So that's what elasticity tells us. Businesses use this to maximize profit and to figure out what price to charge. So elasticity of demand. If the price changes and quantity demanded changes a lot, the good has elastic demand. So if the price of Coca-Cola increases, the quantity demanded will decrease a lot because you can just buy Pepsi or another substitute. So Coca-Cola has elastic demand. Then if the price changes and the quantity demanded changes a little, the good has inelastic demand. So if the price of cigarettes increases, the quantity demanded will decrease only a little because cigarettes are addictive and people will continue to buy them. So cigarettes have inelastic demand. So calculating price elasticity of demand, you got to use so you have to use this formula here. This formula doesn't work very well. You just have to use this one. So I'll demonstrate this in an activity, how to use this formula below here. And so it's called the midpoint formula. So we're going to use the midpoint formula to calculate demand. So we'll only use the midpoint formula. So in this case, this is a good example. Price drops from $10 to $6. Quantity demanded increases from $20 to $30. The price elasticity demand would be 0.8. So this one, part of it is not written correctly. So here it would be, so it would be 30 minus 20 divided by 25, and then divided by 6 minus 10 divided by 8. And then you get negative 0.8. So price inelastic. And then now try this practice question on your own. Price increases from $10 to $14. Quantity demanded decreases from 15 to 7 to 5. Does somebody want to try that? So I got to use the quantity change.
Can we see the formula again?
Yes. So I'll write it out here. So quantity change divided by quantity midpoint, then divided by price change, divided by price midpoint. So that's price. To use that formula, you take the change in price, like change in quantity, divided by the midpoint of quantity, and then divided by price change, divided by price midpoint.
Three 3.03, Professor.
Sorry?
Three 3.03.
Yes, I think yeah, 3.03 would be the right one. Yeah. So yeah, so it would be 3.03. So you would take the 5 minus 15 divided by 10, which is the midpoint, and then divide that by 14 minus 10, then divide that by 12, which is the midpoint, and then you get 3.03. So good job. Great job on that one. So that's how you do that one. So then here's another example. So you take the change in quantity, divide the midpoint of the quantity, and then divide that by the change in price divided by the midpoint of price. And then you get price elasticity of demand of negative 3.44. And then you would convert that to positive. So they just make it positive because people prefer positives. So this would be elastic demand here. So the demand is elastic here. So let's work on the worksheet on this. So the elasticity of demand worksheet will be what we work on. So let's try this here. So I'll write out the formula here. So you do price elasticity of demand equals quantity change divided by quantity midpoint, and then divide that by price change divided by price midpoint. So does somebody want to try to calculate that? I'll maybe Does buyback want to try to calculate that?
Minus 1.904.
So so for that one, just gonna check it. I think you got it. I'm just gonna check. What did you get again? So I got this.
Professor, please, I have a question.
Yes.
Please, how did you get the quantity midpoint and the price midpoint? I did not understand that.
Can you say that again?
How did you get the quantity midpoint? How did you come about this 487.5? How did you get the quantity midpoint and the price midpoint?
So you'd have to add these up and divide by 2.
Okay. Thank you, Professor.
And then the price one, you do that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Professor.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. So that's how you get the midpoint. You would have to add the prices together and divide by 2, and then add the quantity together and divide by 2. So that's what you would do for that. And then this would be price inelastic. So that means that people need hamburgers in this example. And a 1% increase in price will reduce quantity demanded of hamburgers by 0.54%. So that's how you do that one. And then for the next one, the price of shoes is reduced from $60 to $40. The quantity sold increases from 2,000 to 2,500. So how would you do the how would you get the answer? Ernest said this about 0.55. Okay. So I'll try. So 4,500 divided by 2 is 2,250 divided by 20 divided by 40. 50. So that's the, so we got here, and let's check what this will be. So I'm just gonna try this, see what this will be. So I got negative 0.55. So great job, everyone who calculated that. So is this lost is this price elastic or inelastic? Yeah, inelastic. Do people need this product in this example? Yes, exactly. And then what happens to quantity demanded when price increases by 1%? So, Mina, do you want, what's your question?
Okay, so Professor, how can we determine if the price is inelastic or elastic? At what percentage does it get elastic, and at what percentage does it get inelastic?
A good question. So, if it's between 0 and 1 here, it's inelastic. And then if it's greater than 1, it's elastic. So you convert the number to positive 2 before you figure it out.
Okay, I didn't see this part of it.
Sorry.
I said, okay, I didn't see this part of the question. That's why I had to ask. Thank you, Professor.
Oh, no problem. So what happens to quantity demanded when price increases by 1%? So quantity demanded would decrease by 0.55% based on the price elasticity of demand there. And the cost of a movie ticket rises from $7 to $7.70. The number of tickets sold in a week changes from 1,000 to 900. So what will be the price elasticity of demand here? So that would be so I got this. I narrowed it down here. I'll check if it's any of those answers that you post in the chat. So the negative 1.1. So then is this inelastic or elastic? Yes. Elastic. Do people need to go to the movies?
Not necessarily, Professor.
Good job. Yeah, correct. Excellent. And then for a 1% increase in price, what happens to quantity demanded? So it goes down by 1.1% in this case. And then for the next one, the cost of petrol rises from RMB 2 per liter to RMB 2.4. The quantity demanded decreases 2,500 to 2,400 liters. So price elasticity of demand equals quantity change divided by quantity midpoints and divided by price change divided by price midpoint. So that's 2,500 minus 2,400 divided by 2,500 plus 2,400 divided by 2 divided by 2 minus 2.40 divided by 2 plus 2.40 divided by 2, 100 divided by 450 divided by negative 0.40 divided by 2.20. So that would be negative 0.22. Usually for a need type product, so like any sort of needs would be on this. So like needs, insulin, basic necessities, housing, transportation, food, water would have inelastic demands. So all of that would have an elastic demand. And then so like if price elasticity of demand is greater than 1, then price elasticity of demand is elastic. So that would be more wants are elastic. The wants are elastic. So a want would be like going on vacation, like vacation would be a want, trips, fancy food, like also cars, etc. So yeah, that's very important there. Yeah, so inelastic demand would be for something like cancer fighting medication, cigarettes. So people buy them all the time and they'll keep buying them. So these are the types of products. So like inelastic demand products are products that people buy all of the time, even when prices go up. So like inelastic demand goods are usually necessities or products that are addictive. Yeah, so cigarettes would fall under that there. And then elastic demand curve is when they're products you don't need. So it could be Coca-Cola, apples, vacations, cars, sports tickets. So stuff you don't need. Yeah, it's mostly stuff you don't need. So factors affecting demand elasticity are availability of substitutes. So goods with substitutes have more elasticity than goods that don't have substitutes. So Coke and Pepsi would have more elasticity. Nature of the item. Necessities would be inelastic. Luxury items would be elastic. So rice would be inelastic necessity. Expensive shoes would be a luxury elastic. Percentage of income spent. So more expensive goods are more elastic. So new car versus pen. So more expensive goods, new cars would be more elastic than pens. Amount of time available. Over time, some goods become more elastic as consumers find substitutes. If your computer broke tomorrow and you had class tomorrow night, you'd need a computer. You need a computer quick, so your need for a computer would go up during that period. So here, the inelastic, it's beneficial for producers to increase the price of the product. Price rises, total revenue rises. Price falls, total revenue falls. Elastic, it is not beneficial for producers to increase the price of the product. Price rises, total revenue falls. Price falls, total revenue rises. And then, yeah. So elasticity is effect on revenue. So this is what happens here. So if you raise the price on inelastic goods, you're going to make more revenue. So in this case, if you raise the price on inelastic demand goods, you will make more revenue. If you raise the price on elastic demand goods, you will make less revenue in that case. So yeah, if you raise the price on inelastic demand goods, you will make more revenue. If you raise the price on elastic demand goods, you'll make less revenue. So we were going to do another worksheet here. It's going to be on factors determining elasticity of demand. So that's going to be what we do here. Let's get started on this worksheet here. So factors that determine elasticity of demand. So there are 4 factors that determine whether a specific good or service will be elastic or inelastic, and it's the nature of the good or service, availability of substitutes, percent of income needed to buy the good or service, or time. So what are goods and services that could be inelastic? Does Baruch, you want to try?
I didn't understand this one, Professor.
Okay, so they're more like needs-based goods.
Rice.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. So rice. So anything that's a need is inelastic.
Milk?
Water,
Water.
So water. What else?
medicine,
Well,
Yeah, those are good ones. Yeah, gas, medicine, rice, water. Then goods and services that tend to be elastic, so like not needed. Anything
movie ticket.
that is not needed is
Car.
elastic.
Car.
Yeah, cars. What else?
accessories,
Hey, Professor, electronics,
Yes. What else?
clothing,
I would say like for like designer clothing.
designer. Okay.
Yeah, I think basic clothing is important. So basic clothing would be under the other column. So like everyone needs basic clothing, but designer clothing is not needed. So like I think designer clothing, yeah, it's not needed. So for each of the following, indicate whether you believe the demand would be elastic or inelastic. Explain your rationale for each decision. So would pencils be elastic or inelastic?
Rational. Elastic.
Yeah, so why do you think it would be elastic?
Everybody doesn't need pencils. Depends.
Yes. they could use pens. Exactly. They could use pens, type, use your phone to text. So there's a lot of there are many substitutes. So good job. And then what about eggs? Are eggs elastic or inelastic?
Inelastic.
Yes, inelastic. Why?
There's no substitute for egg.
Yes, exactly. Excellent. That's great. Also, the nutrients are required for our living. Yeah, that's great. And then what about milk?
Inelastic.
Yes. And why?
This one is also the source of
Good supplement.
calcium.
Yeah, source of calcium. Needed nutrients. That's great. Great job. And then what about blue jeans? Are blue jeans elastic or
Elastic.
Elastic.
yes? Why?
We have other
Product.
jeans.
We can wear a black jean.
Substitute product.
Yeah,
There's so many
substitute products.
substitutes.
That's great. Substitute products, excellent. And then what about Tesla Model Y? Is that elastic or inelastic?
Elastic.
Elastic.
Elastic, yes. And why?
This one is also the substitute product.
Excellent. And then what about a university education? Would that be elastic or inelastic?
Inelastic.
You missed one.
Elastic.
Yes. Why?
For education, knowledge.
Elastic because not everybody needs a university education.
Yes.
So you get in colleges.
There's a lot of substitute services. So like going to college or getting a trade. So like going to college, becoming a tradesperson. And other education is available. Yeah, so there's a lot of other education available. So you can go to college, you can become a tradesperson, you can do other types of education, like university is not the only one. So it would be elastic. So good job, everyone. And then what about gasoline? Is that elastic or inelastic?
Elastic.
Elastic.
Yeah. Elastic. Oh wait. Can you say it again? Yeah,
Inelastic.
inelastic. Yes. Why?
It's needed
Yeah.
for your everyday
Yeah, exactly.
transport.
Exactly. Great work.
Well, Professor, a quick
Yes.
question there.
Yes.
Petrol or gasoline? I know, yeah, it's generally needed by a lot of people, but not everybody actually needs that.
So we kind of do because, like, at least right now we do because a lot, like most vehicles are run by gasoline, and vehicles transport our food, our needs, like our food or water, stuff that goes in the grocery store. So
Okay.
it's needed that way, but eventually if electric cars take over, which is likely in, like, let's say 20-30 years, yeah, exactly, container ships need it. If electric vehicles take over in 20-30 years, then gasoline might not be a need anymore. So right now it's a need still because most of our vehicles are run by it, but it might not be in the future. So that might change. But right now it is, but it might change. It's likely to change in the future. So I'll post this under factors affecting elasticity of demand. So this will be under learning content for everyone to look at. So this will be under learning content. So what we'll do is we'll get back to the PowerPoint here. So great job, everyone, on that. Great participation. So we'll get back to this here. So elasticity of supply measures how much supply will change when there's a change in price. So how quickly can suppliers get more goods and services to the market? That's what it measures. An elasticity of supply. So if the price changes and the quantity of supply changes a lot, the good is said to have elastic supply. So if the price of pens increases, the quantity supplied will increase a lot because it's easy for producers to quickly make more pens and therefore make more money. Therefore, pens have elastic supply. And also, if the price changes and the quantity supplied changes a little, the good is said to have an elastic supply. So e.g., if the price of tomatoes increases, quantity supplied won't change very much at all because suppliers can't quickly increase the production, therefore tomatoes have an elastic supply. So it would be, so yeah, the change in quantity divided by change in midpoint divided by change in price divided by midpoint. So that's how you get price elasticity of supply. So price elasticity of supply is between 0 and 1, it's inelastic. If price elasticity of supply is greater than 1, it's elastic. So inelastic supply products include tickets, so concert tickets, baseball tickets, etc. So the reason why there's inelastic supply for these goods, because concert stadiums have a fixed supply of seats. So the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto has 20,000 seats. So only 20,000 tickets can be sold. And more cannot be sold. So inelastic supply. So that means that's what an inelastic supply is. And also baseball stadiums have only 50,000 seats usually. So they can only sell 50,000 tickets to each game, and more cannot be sold. Inelastic supply. So that's what they mean by inelastic supply. They can only have like 50,000 or 20,000 seats, and they can't have any more people that come. So that's what inelastic supply is. And then elastic supply is when they can produce stuff quickly. So like for shoes would have elastic supply because you can produce a lot more shoes quickly if you need. So like producing shoes isn't producing more shoes is possible in the short run. So this is producing more shoes is easier to do and quicker to do than building a new stadium for baseball games and concerts. So that's why this is elastic supply. But that's the difference between inelastic and elastic supply in this case. So yeah, these are good factors here. I'll put this over here. So the factors that affect elasticity of supply is the time, how long it takes to produce the product, vegetables and fresh fruits versus bread. Shorter the production time equals more elastic. Ease of storage, how big is it and how long will it last? Easier to store equals more elastic. Cost factors, how much does it cost to produce? How quickly can they get more inputs? Less inputs required, cheaper process equals more elastic. So here, decide in which of the following case demand / supply is likely to be elastic and inelastic. So So I'll ask Chika, does pork have elastic or inelastic demand slash supply? So I'd say pork has inelastic supply because you got an inelastic supply because you gotta grow more pigs for pork, and then elastic demands because of the substitutes. And what about paper clips? Does paper clips have inelastic? What's the demand slash supply elasticity for paper clips? Does
Elastic supply and inelastic demand.
inelastic demand people need paper clips and elastic supply? Yeah, it's not hard to make paper clips. That's great. And then what about fresh strawberries? Does Denara want to try this one?
Inelastic supply, elastic demand.
Yes. Elastic demand because of the substitutes, inelastic supply because it's hard. It's hard to grow them. Like it takes a long time to grow them. And what about ties? What about demand and supply for ties?
Inelastic demand and elastic supply.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's not hard to make ties. Like it's quick to make ties, and then people like they always buy ties if they're working in an office or something like that. Great job. And then 10 Ps. What's the demand and supply for 10 Ps?
I think elastic demand, inelastic supply.
Yeah, because you got to grow the peas, which takes a long time, and then the people have like there's a lot of substitutes. It's great. Then what about trains? Demand and supply for trains.
I think elastic demand and inelastic supply. It also takes time.
That's great. Yeah, good job. So elastic demand because of the substitutes. A lot of substitutes trains. Inelastic supply because it takes a long time to build a train. So elastic demand because there's a lot of substitutes. So you can travel in a car, you can walk, you can travel on a bike, take the bus, take the boat, etc. There's a lot of other opportunities there. But great job on that. That was great. Then let's do this worksheet on elasticity supply. So we'll do this part here. In response to an increase in the market price from RM4 to RM5, Mr. Potato increases production of his potato chips from 240,000 units a month to 300,000 units. Calculate the elasticity of supply coefficient for Mr. Potato chips. So you do write down the formula. Change in supply, change in quantity. That'll be midpoint quantity. What about price change? What would be midpoint? Does somebody want to calculate that? So I calculate, so I put it all together here.
I
Let
got
me
one.
know. You got one? You got one? Yes, one. Good job. You got one. That's correct. That's correct. Great work. So one. It's unitary elastic. Great work. Great work. And let's try the next one. So the market price for petrol decreases from $75 a barrel to $67.50. Quantity supplied by Saudi Aramco decreases from 800,000 barrels a day to 540,000 barrels a day. What's the elasticity of supply coefficient for this one? I'll write out what I did so far for this one. And then somebody wants to try, feel free to jump in. So I got 3.7. So loss supply elastic. That's what I got for that. Did anyone else try it? So does Efamina want to try the next one's SUVs one? So if you did this one, it'd be 50,000 minus 52,000 divided by 50,000 plus 52,000 divided by 2 divided by 80,000 minus 88,000. So buyback got 2.5. Thanks buyback for trying. I'll check if I get the same thing. I bet you got it. So I'll try it. I'll see. So this is what I put together here. And let's see. I'll see if I get the same thing as buyback got. So I got 1.65. I got 1.65. I'll try it again. I'll see if I did it wrong. So I'm gonna try it again. So so I got this here. Are you talking about the formula, Perna? Okay. So I got 0.41 when I recalculated it. Okay. Got 0.41.
I got 0.411184210. 0.4.
Yeah, I think you got it, Mina. I think you got it because I recalculated mine and I got the same thing you did. So good job. So yeah, I think you did it right. The formula is this. So Perna, this is the formula here. So I think it is 0.41. So it'd be price, so supply inelastic. Yeah. So so I'll put this in the chat if everyone wants to recalculate this. Yeah, if you want to recalculate it, here's in the chat, and I'll post this. I'm gonna post this into
Professor,
yeah.
but their output has been increased from 50,000 to 52,000.
I'll check it again 1 second.
Okay.
So we would so how we did it was correct. Like for this, because you would have to order it like this. So the so since it you could order it like this. This is fine to order it like this, or you get the same answer if you ordered it like this. So you get the same answer if you did it like this. If you just switch this and this, and switch this and this, you get the same answer.
Oh, we can switch at both sides.
Yeah, you can switch both sides. What would happen is instead of it being like this,
Okay.
what would happen is
plus minus. Okay.
yeah, so it would be you get the same result. It would still be so this is what you would get here, and it would still be 0.41. So either way, you could do it. It doesn't matter which way you do it. Those are both correct. There's two ways of doing it. So you could do it either one of these ways.